Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Are you refreshed? Did you get a break? Yes, are you ready for the next part of the day? Yes, all right. What is the one thing that whenever you get up close and personal with a leader and it tells you what is that secret ingredient to achieve success, what do they always say? Come on, tell me, yell out some answers. What do they always say? What's that secret ingredient? What did you say? Yes! I've interviewed my fair share of incredible entrepreneurs, everyone from Lewis Hamilton to Richard Branson. And the one thing that they always come back with is that if you have passion, true passion, it's not considered work. This is where you'll be able to put it all in, do the hours, and it doesn't matter how many hours you put in. Because you're so passionate about it, it doesn't matter. You're willing to do it anyway. This next session is going to be all about igniting passion, turning your passion into something meaningful. So this is under our global engagement pillar, and it's called Mission Possible, not Mission Impossible, Mission Possible, turning passion into purpose. So this is a super exciting session, especially when we hear passion, passion, passion. You've got to be passionate. How do we turn our passion into truly something meaningful? And this is what this next session is all about. So I'm absolutely honored to invite back to the stage our wonderful moderator who will introduce our guests and lead this discussion forward, the one and only Lama Alhamawi. To the stage, please.
Thank you, Shireen, as always, for that amazing introduction. She always does it so smoothly and so well. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our session. I hope you're enjoying the Miss Global Forum so far. We've had a very fulfilled day, really. There's been so many wonderful, insightful sessions taking place. Our session now is going to be titled Mission Possible, Turning Passion into Purpose. And I think many of us have felt that spark before, that spark of inspiration, an idea, a cause, a sense of purpose that stirs something within us. But the challenge isn't finding that spark. It's knowing how to make it truly matter and turn into ideas into lasting impacts. Today, we're joined by some very inspiring leaders who have done exactly that. They've transformed their passions for mentorship, sustainability, and pushing the limits into dynamic movements that shape the future. From clean energy to tackling food waste and empowering Saudi talent. These trailblazers are proving how purpose can reach across borders. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our amazing panel. Welcome. It's going to be a good session. Welcome, please. Thank you. I have to say, we have such a diverse group of people on stage with me. And as a journalist, I've done my research about all of their projects, and I have to say, we are in store for a treat, genuinely. I'm supposed to be unbiased, but I'm not unbiased. You're doing amazing work, and I can't wait to highlight it. To jump in, I want to introduce everyone very, very quickly. Starting from my left side, we have Jana Yamani, the Managing Director of Project 1932. We have Abdulaziz Saud, Co-founder and CEO of Barakah. Nelly, Attar, the pioneering mountaineer, I like that, pioneering mountaineer and mental health advocate. Rizvana, Hredlta, the CEO of Hydroquo Plus. Please give them a round of applause before we start. To start off the session, this session is going to be amazing. I'm really looking forward to it. To start off the session, I want to jump to Jana. Jana, you have so much experience working to empower youth in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia with Project 1932. Particularly, you're encouraging mentorship between ambitious youth within the kingdom. I want to ask you, before we jump into the topic, what is Project 1932? Give us an idea of it, and how is mentoring help young people achieve their goals?
Thank you, Lama. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for MISC for this amazing platform that brings youth together. So Project 1932 is a local platform that connects high ambitious Saudis with Saudi leader mentors. We do this on an annual basis. So we open applications, we accept candidates, we connect them with mentors, and then they take on that journey to the next level. They work on personal, professional, as well as social skills, and they develop, an amazing relationship between them that ends with hopefully a lot of lessons learned for the mentees. To answer your second question, so I believe that every person has an ultimate potential self. And for someone to reach that, it's maximizing your output to the world. There are three things that you need to work on to be able to get to your calling in life. The first one is skills. So you have to work on something that is, something that you're very good at, that people identify as skills. Sometimes these are skills that you have, and sometimes these are skills that are hidden to you, that others know of you. So working on something that you're skilled at is number one. Number two is passion. A lot of people spend years and years self-exploration, trying to find their passion. So passion is extremely important. And then the third thing is the fuel that gets you to do things, which is a drive. And once you combine these three, it's amazing how fast you can go to your ultimate calling in life. And with the mentorship, I think this expedites that process. Because if you think of anyone's life, it's a combination of decisions that they make, like a decision tree. And people explore and try to fail in some cases, and they experience different diverse experiences. But when there is a mentor next to you that guides you through that process, it is the fastest way to reach that calling in life.
It's beautiful. And that's exactly how we make change. It's perfectly put.
Absolutely. And we've seen a lot of examples through Project 1932. We send a survey at the end of the 6 months, and we ask people, how was your experience? Did you learn anything new? And we found that more than 50% gain a new perspective in life or gain a new skill. More than 40% discover a new passion of theirs and find different opportunities. And so these are a testament of how mentorship really is extremely impactful in finding your passion and trying to find something that reaches to your ultimate goals.
Yeah, that's beautifully said. We're going to jump between each panelist because I think we only have 30 minutes and I want to give everyone a chance. Abdulaziz, I want to jump to you with Barakah. First, give us an idea, what is Barakah for those that don't know? Obviously, you're tackling a global problem, food waste, but starting at a local level, from my understanding. In Jeddah, you started. How did you identify this as a problem, and what made you decide to do something and create Barakah?
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum jami'an. It's a pleasure to be with you all this evening. Very high level, Barakah is a marketplace that's enabling F&B retailers to sell their surplus products and meals. And I think a question we're often asked is, why is this a problem worth solving? So globally, 40% of all produced food is wasted. That's over $1.3 trillion in monetary terms. Al-Khalij is no different. The GCC is no different. Food waste accounts for about $20 billion across the F&B supply chain. And then in Saudi Arabia, it's about half of that, so $11 billion per year. And to give you some further context, the global average of food waste per capita is approximately 90 kilograms per person. The local average in the GCC is about 190, one of the highest in the world. And therein lies the problem, but also the opportunity. I think beyond food waste, food security is another really important component to what we're trying to build. So in the next 40 years, we'll need to produce more food than we have in the last 8,000 years of human civilization. To add another anecdote, there'll be 2 billion more people on this planet within 40 years. We would need a landmass the size of Brazil to feed them, using conventional means of production. So I think something we hold true at Barakah, and it's ingrained in our culture, is this notion that innovation and technology within the context of food security, it's not a luxury. It's a necessity for us to achieve our objectives. And looking at this through maybe more of the local lens, we import about 75% of our food to Saudi, in Saudi. And the rest of the GCC imports a higher proportion, in fact. Now, I don't think anyone makes the argument that we should be completely food independent or secure, Yeah, 98% of the Arabian Peninsula is arid. It's desert. So that's not really the point. What's really encouraging is seeing Saudi and surrounding GCC countries leading the charge on things like vertical farming, on things like hydroponics, sustainable energy, renewables. And then I would say at the end of the supply chain is where we come in. So our focus is reducing waste at the retail and consumption level, which accounts for about 33% of total food waste.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I want to jump to Nelly. Did you all know that Nelly has scaled Everest? Isn't that amazing? Can we give her a round of applause for that? It's a wonderful achievement. Nelly, I want to ask you obviously you're very passionate and you're very resilient. I mean, it takes a lot of resilience to scale Everest. What gives you the drive to do what you do, and what are some of the obstacles you faced along the journey?
First of all, thank you all for being here today, and thank you, Misk, for having us. What gives me the drive? Sports changed my life, and sports changed the lives of many of the people I work with. Seeing and experiencing the impact of sports is what makes me do what I do today. I aspire to change people's lives through sports, and I aspire to change the world through sports. As Nelson Mandela says, sports has the power to change the world, sports has the power to inspire, and sports has the power to unite people in a way that nothing else does. And that's why I do what I do.
That's beautiful. Let's jump to Rizvana. Rizvana, last but not least, you have a lot of interesting work. We spoke backstage. You jumped from finance. I think you were working in the capital market. It's a foreign world to me. And you moved into Hydroquo Plus. Tell us about Hydroquo Plus. What is some of the work that you're doing in AI to improve water management?
So to begin, thank you very much for having me. I am from Bangladesh, so I would like to take this opportunity to extend my deepest sympathy and deepest respect for, as we all know, what underwent and what unfolded in Bangladesh a couple of months ago. You know, I would like to use this opportunity to extend the deepest sympathies and respect on behalf of everyone here to the fallen brothers and sisters for preserving the right, for preserving the social equity, and for creating an avenue for everyone to have a framework where everyone has that civil liberty that everyone wants to have in any developed country. So thank you for allowing me to share the message. And moving back to Hydroquo, so I transitioned from a career in finance, and I was seeking purpose. And this is what led me to join forces with my CEO founder, who happens to be my younger brother as well. And we underwent on this purpose to provide water safety. So building purpose-oriented enterprise requires you to assemble your Avengers. You have to have strong founding team and co-founders who have this fanatical vision, and you share this unwavering commitment. And this is what led us to critically think about the criteria which would be required, something that you can draw from the business world to a social, an enterprise. And if I could have the picture of what we actually...
We have a presentation as
yes,
well.
This is the kind of work we do in Bangladesh in the water industry. We have to go into the manhole. We are deep divers of manhole, and we deploy our sensor, which gives us data for water. This is what we provide to the public utility. So we had to critically think about how to reform the traditional methods and sort of come up with ways which would complement the systems that we have and sort of, enrich the system that we have to ensure that, we can come up with strategies not to take away from the systems, but to enable it even further by equipping it with different thought experiments. For example, when we were sort of approaching this problem on how to ensure water safety, we weren't just thinking about water safety, we were thinking about how to reform the systems delivering it to ensure water safety. And sometimes when you are dealing with legacy systems which are deeply entrenched, you have to sort of go about thinking from the stakeholders' perspective. This is another thing to draw from the finance world as well. or the business world. You have a noble cause, but you need to equip it with an economically viable model. This is something that our stakeholders were asking, that this is a great venture, but how do you make it economically viable for departments which are operating under tight budgets? So you also have to equip yourself for managing crisis. Navigating crisis is something which will be defining the character of your enterprise. And you have to also sort of, when navigating crisis, you come across, moments when your human brain is programmed to narrow down and you're sort of just focused on the path ahead. But however, we need to, at this moment during crisis, open our mental aperture and sort of not succumb to quick fixes. We need to sort of think about the long-term view, about the longer horizon. And while you are doing this, it isn't just about doing good. It is also about equipping it with a viable model so you can scale this across borders. And this is when you sort of come into questions which create the blind spots. You have to test the assumptions, relentlessly experiment, and then you have your moments of breakthroughs, and that is where you have your lasting impact.
Beautifully said. You speak very passionately about this topic. Give her a round of applause, honestly. That was a beautiful statement.
Thank you.
I like how supportive this audience is. It's really nice. We should bring it on often. You speak very passionately about the topic. All four of you do. Jana, I want to pass the question to you. Obviously, passion is very important in terms of social enterprises and creating work of impact. So many people have passion, but what other elements are needed in order for social enterprises and change initiatives to succeed?
So it's very difficult to maintain a social enterprise. And I think passion alone is not enough, specifically for sustainability of any social enterprise. But I believe if you have 3 traits, it will at least help you develop and grow that enterprise. As a start, you have to be extremely proactive. With Project 1932, we're extremely proactive in trying to raise the word about what we do, connecting and getting support from a lot of the big SIBs that are part of the program, which we're extremely grateful to have in our program, and they're volunteering most of their time. It's one of the skills. The second one is being extremely resourceful, and this is going and approaching the right partners, trying to figure out when there are challenges how to resolve these challenges. Especially financially, to ensure that the impact that you're driving is never going to stop. And so these two, I would say, and just having a sense of ownership, like you own that space and you want to drive a lot of change in that space. And so for us, specifically for mentorship, we want to lead in that topic, and we want to also give back to the society in which we're currently partnering with Strategy and we're drafting a white paper about mentorship, how to develop local mentorship programs, what are the lessons that we learned from it, and we want someone to come to us and ask us about how they can do that in their own corporations, and we're more than happy to always help.
And I have to say, Jana is doing amazing work with Project 1932. They have such a diverse list of big SIBs, right? Big SIBs. How many do you have right now? It's constantly expanding.
It is expanding. So we started with 120 big SIBs. Now we're up to 230. We started with 150 little SIBs, and now we're up to 445 little SIBs.
And these are major.
And we aspire to grow even further, hopefully soon.
And they're big figures as well. These are major figures across sectors that are big SIBs. Yeah, I've seen the list. If you go on the website as well, you can just see some of the major figures, and it's amazing, honestly, the work that you're doing, connecting youth to people of influence to help them grow.
And we're very grateful for all the support we're getting.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Give a round of applause. So much support, I like this. This session's wonderful. Abdulaziz, let's jump to you. Abdulaziz, I want this next question to kind of be for the audience. If you can give them any advice or lessons they can learn, how does Barakah operate in terms of its strategy, and what lessons can young entrepreneurs take away from your experiences?
So roughly speaking, the main problems we're trying to solve for stakeholders within the F&B space is that currently they're losing, obviously, billions in revenue. And additionally, with the move to e-commerce, generally online platforms, quick commerce, they're also losing foot traffic and upsell opportunities, right? So our solution is really focused on reducing their waste by over 50% while increasing revenue. Now, that's the obvious part of it, but I think it was said earlier that, having passion about a sustainable venture isn't enough, and I think this really applies here. The other part of the value proposition is that Barakah drives foot traffic and upsell opportunity for retailers. So more than 95% of our orders since launching have been pickup orders, customers physically picking up their orders in store. And we've surveyed or interviewed over 30,000 of these paying customers. More than 60% of them purchase additional goods while in store. So our proposition to retailers is beyond the obvious. Barakah is a customer acquisition tool, a tool that will materially increase foot traffic and upsell opportunity and brand value. And that's really, I think, been the key to success on the retailer side. On the consumer side, we're a marketplace that enables customers to purchase fresh, unsold products from their favorite restaurants, groceries, bakeries at up to a 70% discount. And I think the whole model is really built around the idea of scarcity. Surplus in its very nature is scarce. You get exceptional discounts that you're not going to find anywhere else. And we try to create a highly engaging user experience to shift these short shelf life products in a very small window of time. And that's critical. So I think it's down to all these elements that in just 18 months, we have sold over 1.5 million meals. And we've signed with over 1,500 F&B retailers. And I mean, including global brands, Dunkin', Cinnabon, Subway, Tim Hortons, just to name a few. In terms of advice, I think, Barakah is really testament to this idea that you can build great products that are scalable, that are venture backable, that are investable, that also tackle a meaningful social issue, right? But I think the starting point is building a great product. And yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That's wonderful. Can we just keep this audience in every session? I just want to carry you with me to every single session. They're so amazing.
يعطيكم العافية.
Nelly, I want to jump to your question. I know I'm going out of order a little bit if you let me, but we were talking backstage, and I kind of honed into our conversation because it was genuinely so inspiring. Turning a sense of purpose into a thriving business is a huge challenge in any sector. What are your top 5 pieces of advice or resources that you can suggest for young people with a dream that want to make it real? I would take notes now. This is the time to take notes if you have a notepad.
I would say explore, be curious, experiment. That's the only way you'll know what you like. And that's the only way you'll be able to create the life that you want. 2, don't let the fear of falling stop you from climbing. Climb up, fall, fail, get back up, and do it all over again. That's the cycle of success. Support others, and that will come back to you in one way or another. There's room for everyone to succeed, and your time to shine will be there. We rise when we lift up. We rise with others when we lift others. And really, truly, there's a space for everyone to grow. So support others. And it's okay to not have answers. It's okay to doubt yourself. It's okay to be confused. It's okay to feel fear. I feel fear every time I try something new. With the fear, take a step. Courage doesn't mean you don't feel fear and hesitation. Courage means you don't let it stop you. And the final thing I'd like to add, as my father, Allah Alhamawi, used to always tell me, only those who risk going far can find out how far they can go. Risk it. I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't take risks.
Amazing. Truly inspiring. Rizvana, I want to jump to you. Your businesses have different purposes, but they're all driven by a desire to change and social justice. With so many ideas to improve lives in Bangladesh, how do you set realistic goals without limiting your ambitions?
That is a very insightful question, and it's something that you have to really consciously think of, because the idea of change and social justice, the desire for it, isn't just about the innate ability to just simply challenge the status quo. When you're driven by a purpose, which is human-centered, it carries much more than just within the bounds of high profit margins or within the bounds of just challenging the system. You don't do it for the sake of challenging the system. You are doing it to enhance and to progress and to actually break through, right? And revolutionize the system that is. And you want to leave the place better than when you came in, because the satisfaction you derive from the altruism, it is tremendous to fuel your determination. This is not something which I was gaining when I went to, my office in capital markets and I came back home. This is not something which I felt meaningful in life about. So social change and change and social justice, it's for people who are determined dreamers, who are thinkers. Their mission, they're not just simply driven by change. They're driven by something way more than that. Any change would carry meaning, but it has to be something which serves humanity. Only when you are serving humanity through your meaning is when you feel fulfilled. And I would say, while you are sort of embarking on a journey, please do not let yourself be so consumed by cause. It is noble, but in order for your noble cause to scale and benefit and sort of travel across borders, you have to equip it with a realistic model.
Yeah.
You have to equip it with the talent, the fund, the resources, the critical resources it needs, for the financial constraints as well as financial discipline. These are something you need to balance your purpose with for it to have the runway where it can transform the impossible dream into an actionable reality.
Yeah, beautifully put. I have to say, walking around MGF today, there's no shortage of youth that really want to change the world and make impact across different sectors. I mean, even walking around today, I had so many people approach me wanting to make impact in media. Jana, I want to jump to you for this question since you're working very closely to the youth. Can you suggest some accessible resources for young people with a dream of changing the world? How can they find mentors? How can they find funding and support and guidance?
So I have to answer with go to MISC
Very
and
true.
explore MISC opportunities.
Very true.
Definitely exploring opportunities that are out there. The country is filled with amazing educational, employment, training opportunities out there. So trying to develop your skills is extremely easy these days in the kingdom. Now, explore opportunities that are extremely diverse, because that's also a way for you to find your passion and your calling in life, especially at a very early age. It's the time for you to explore. It's not the time for you to stick with one thing and just, don't open your horizon to the rest of the world. So definitely explore. The third is get a very good mentor and apply to Project 1932. But if you try to find mentors around you, and good mentors are usually very good listeners that don't tell you to do something, but guide you to make your own decision.
And I will say there's no shortage of mentors in Saudi. I will advise youth and audiences, just take a chance, ask someone. What's the worst they can say? I mean, it's not going to kill you. Always ask.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're always going to say yes.
Yeah.
I would say 99%.
99%. I was going to say 99.9% of the times it's a yes. People want to help, genuinely. We want to support the next generation. I want to change things up a little bit. I want to ask you all that same question, because when we look to the audience, there's so many people that look up to you individually across your sectors and want to pursue careers similar to yours. So I want to ask you, do you have any guidance or advice for any youth that look up to you and want to pursue a career in your industry? Abdulaziz.
Yeah, I think, I don't think we set out to start a social impact company, to be completely honest. I mean, we set out to build a great product. And I think the hallmark of any great product is one that's solving a meaningful issue. It's just that in the context of Barakah, our issue has multiple dimensions. One is the economical dimension, which we talked about, that retailers face. And then the other is the social and environmental dimension, which I think affects all stakeholders, right? But first principles for us is build a great product. And advice that I could give on that front, I think, again, contrary to public opinion, what I really believe when you're first building a product, don't do things that scale. Do things that don't scale. Focus on a narrow audience that really, really love your product. Don't focus on, a wide range of consumers that kind of like your product, right? It's always better initially to start with something that's focused, that solves a specific problem that people love, and then to scale from there. From our experience, we launched with a completely different model, right? Which customers loved. I won't go into too much detail now. Customers loved it, but we had to pivot eventually because it wasn't scalable for the retailers. But we took the essence of what we knew was successful about the initial MVP, and we used that in our pivot, ultimately. So I think that part is really, really crucial. And then the second thing is, have a clear vision and mission for sure, because I think that's going to help you attract really top talent. One of the most fulfilling parts of our journey at Barakah, it's always great getting validation from investors and raising capital, and that's important. But for me, the most fulfilling thing is getting people to join your mission when you're still a startup, you have limited resources, you haven't raised capital. And so being able to articulate your vision clearly is really important. And aligning your company's values around shared interests, collective interest, right? You want to give people a stake in your company. And that's a really good way of being able to get people to join you early on. I think most people who joined us in our first year took a 20 to 30% pay cut to join Barakah. We hadn't raised any capital, we were bootstrapping. And I think that is really, really critical. Tell a great story, align interest around collective ownership. I think the final piece of advice is for consumer products, branding and brand positioning. When we first thought of Barakah, it was around COVID. And I think during that time, we liked the idea, but we never thought the branding and brand positioning that typically comes with a surplus marketplace would work in our region, within the local context, right? Western values may be more linked in net zero, saving the environment. And it wasn't until we had this eureka moment of we focus on the branding being about Hredlta, saving food in a religious context. And the main expression of that being the word Barakah. It wasn't until we had that moment that we really decided this was something that could be mass market. So have the local context, speak the language, and build for your geography and where you are.
That's wonderful. Nelly, I'm going to jump to you. Similar question. What advice would you give the youth, or any tips that you have that want to pursue a career in your industry?
If you want to work in sports, start sports. Practice sports consistently. That's a starting point. And then get certified in sports. That's how my journey began. And it's really important to embed yourself in the community. It's important to understand what engages the community, what moves the community. Be part of that community, and then build from there. So then get certified, start teaching classes, get out of your comfort zones. I can't tell you how many times I feel uncomfortable, almost every day in my work. But that's part of what we do, right? We train that muscle of discomfort. So get certified in different things, explore. There's no wrong or right answer. And also get mentors, get support from the community. And then from there, take it step by step. I would have never imagined that I would have been able to open a dance studio. I remember telling a friend that suggested, Nelly, you should open a dance studio. I was like, I can never do that. I don't have what it takes, and how can I do that from Saudi? And imagine, I opened Move, I climbed Everest, I climbed K2, the second highest peak in the world, all from Saudi. At a time when Saudi was listed as the least active country in the world. Imagine what you can do now, today, from Saudi. So get up, move, get certified, try different things, get the community active, and that's how you start building. And trust the process, really trust the process. You may not know how it's going to unfold, but just take the steps that you have in front of you.
I mean, the opportunities and possibilities are truly endless with the kingdom. There's so many opportunities, like you said.
100%.
Yep. Rizvana, last but not least, what advice would you like to give to the youth who want to pursue a career in your industry?
I would like to share what we applied in our life. So this might be something which could be useful to people here. So when you're approaching a human-centered problem, the first thing you want to gain is the trust of the people you're solving the problem for, or the stakeholders you're solving the problem for. And this is something you do by, how we did it was by demonstrating the efficacy of your solution by securing small-scale pilot projects. And once we were successful, then we had the leverage and the edge to scale our solution. So this is one practical approach of scaling what you have to offer. And the other thing is to tap into resources such as impact-driven venture funds, startup accelerators, and fellowship programs. As a Techstars-backed company, I would like to extend this opportunity and welcome any dialogue with anybody who's interested in participating for the upcoming cohort batch in Paris. So I would love to share, and we can work on, recommending them to try out this. Why not, right?
Yeah.
Techstars is actually active in Riyadh.
Yeah.
We have a cohort here as well.
Yes. Yes, it would be wonderful to sort of engage. And since we're here in this platform, and if we can sort of take this forward, it would be very fulfilling, right?
Yep. This is the exact mission of MGF. It's having these conversations that create impact. Whether it's small or large, we take these conversations, we advise people with us, and we make impact over time. I know we went a little bit off topic. I'm so sorry about that. But honestly, this was such a beneficial conversation. I learned a lot. I hope you all learned a lot. We're down to our last 5 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, please give another round of applause to our wonderful panel. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
They're amazing. You guys are amazing. Thank you. I wish we had another hour with this amazing audience. Give yourself a round of applause. You are amazing. Thank you so much for joining.
All right. Keep going.
Thanks to our lovely guests. Another round of applause, please. Appreciate it. How are you? Good to see you.